This is becoming one of my favorite pistols. This is a Mannlicher model 1905, designed by Ferdinand Mannlicher at the turn of the century. It was produced by OEWG Steyr in Austria-Hungary. These didn't see much use in their home country. The majority of them, including this one, were used by the Argentine Army. Unfortunately, most of them had their crests ground off, which should be above the grips. Despite their lack of success, these are very interesting pistols. These come from a time of experimentation when it comes to semi-automatic pistol designs. The concept of a slide, so common now, was only used on a handful of early designs. This does have a form of a slide, though it's only this piece here. It loads from the top with stripper clips into an internal magazine. That's right, no detachable magazine here. Another unique feature is a result of the internal magazine and the shape of the pistol itself. All the functional bits are on either side of the frame. There's a removable cover that slides off of the front. With it removed, you can see the internals. On the left, there's the trigger and sear. On the right is the hammer spring. But this video isn't focused on the pistol itself. Another thing that makes it unique is the ammunition it fires. 7.63 Mannlicher, or 7.65 Mannlicher, or 7.63 by 21, or 7.65 by 21. To keep things simple, I'm going to be referring to this as 7.63 Mannlicher. Despite its appearance here, it's a straight-walled cartridge, firing a .30 caliber bullet. The issue is that these Mannlicher pistols are the only firearms chambered in this round. An uncommon gun and an uncommon caliber result in availability issues. No one makes 7.63 Mannlicher. Usually in these cases, brass can be converted from another caliber. I've heard of 32-20 or 32 long being used. Both of these require the cases to be cut down, rims turned down, and extractor grooves to be cut. I've even heard of .30 carbine being used, but that also requires the head of the case to be swaged smaller. Luckily, in the past few years, a new cartridge has been introduced by Federal. It was meant to increase magazine capacity in concealed carry pistols while offering high performance. But what it really did was inadvertently clone 7.63 Mannlicher. That's right, I'm talking about .30 super carry. I'm saying this right off the bat. Do not shoot .30 super carry in a Mannlicher pistol. It will chamber and likely fire, but it's loaded much hotter than the pistol was designed for, 2 to 3 times as hot. Like 7.63 Mannlicher, .30 super carry is a straight walled case. It has nearly the same base dimensions, and the overall length is spot on. Really, the only difference is in the bullet. Like I said, 7.63 Mannlicher fires a .30 caliber bullet. Despite its name, .30 super carry fires a .32 caliber bullet. Actual dimensions .314, slightly larger than the .308 of 7.63 Mannlicher. But with everything else nearly identical, it's a good choice to use as a base for conversion. And to convert, I first need to break these down for components. Here is where I wish I had a press-mounted bullet puller. This is what a .30 super carry case contains. I'll set the bullet aside. Never reuse powder unless you're absolutely sure what it is. That's why I'll dump this out. That just leaves the primed case. I'll get the case in the press. I'm using a shell holder for 32 ACP. One made specifically for .30 super carry would be preferred. To convert the brass, I have a set of 30 Luger dies. 30 Luger is a bottlenecked cartridge for a .30 caliber bullet, and the brass is about the same overall length. The body of the straight-walled .30 super carry cases won't be impacted, only the end of the case, which will be formed into a small neck of sorts. I'm setting up the die as I would any other full-length sizer, with a slight cam over at the end of the press stroke. I don't want to push out the primer though, so I'll remove the decapping rod. And a note on primers, I'm using Remington brand ammunition specifically for the primer. Mannlicher 1905s, with their 120-year-old V-springs, require soft primers. I've heard of others having issues with CCI, or federal primers. That's why I went with Remington, which are among the softest. Despite the .30 Luger being a bottlenecked case, the decapping rod is just that. It doesn't expand the neck at all. Before sizing the brass, I'll first coat the end of the case in a bit of imperial sizing wax. Then I'll size the brass. This is what it looks like after being sized. You can see the very slight bottleneck formed, while the rest of the case is untouched. Next I'll swap the sizing die for the expanding die. Like most pistol calibers, these are separate dies. I'm screwing it down until it just touches the shell holder. Then I'll run the press. That's what it looks like after expanding. The same as before, just that the neck is slightly larger, and there's a slight bell end at the mouth, ready to accept the bullet. But before I do so, there's two things to discuss. First is the bullet itself. I thought about reusing the .30 Super Carry bullets. I have a 308 diameter sizing die that I can use to bring these down to the correct size. The issue is that they're 100 grain. The 7.63 Mannlicher originally fired an 85 grain bullet. For a first test like this, I'll stick to duplicating the original load. And that's what I have here. These PPU bullets are meant for 7.62 Tokarev, but they should work in any .30 caliber. They're actually .3065 instead of .308, but we'll see how well they do. Sierra makes an 85 grain 308 bullet if these don't work well. The second thing to discuss is the powder charge. The Mannlicher 1905 is a blowback design, and the 7.63 Mannlicher is a low pressure cartridge. I've done the research, and while there's no official data to go off of, I've heard of others having success using 32 ACP load data. It makes sense, they're both low pressure, and primarily used in blowback pistols. They're also both roughly the same bullet diameter, though the 7.63 Mannlicher case is longer. Now that those are taken care of, I can seat the bullet. Before I install the seating die, I'll show a small modification I made. This is a ball bearing. I placed it on top of the seating stem in order for it to be able to be screwed down further to accommodate the shorter overall length of 7.63 Mannlicher. That's 1.1 inches versus 1.175 for .30 Luger. I already set the seating die up. It touches the shell holder, then is backed off a half turn. There's no need to crimp the bullet in place. Then I'll add the brass, and the bullet, and seat. I'm aiming for 1.1 inches overall. I had backed off the seating stem, so these are long right now. That's a few thousand short, but good enough. I loaded up a few rounds. Time to test these at the range. I'll start off by shooting only one round, manually inserting it into the internal magazine. That worked, and it hit the plate that I was shooting at. Like I said in the beginning, this pistol loads with stripper clips. I have 2 here. I'll load them with 5 rounds each. Then I'll load them into the pistol. It loads surprisingly easy. I thought this would be tougher given the limited space and small rounds. Though I only got 2 out of 5 hits, the pistol is surprisingly accurate. Let's see if I can go 5 for 5. Not bad at all. It's difficult to capture a proper slow motion with a blowback, since they operate so fast. That was 16 times slowed down. This video has been focused on repurposing 30 Super Carry brass for 7.63 Mannlicher. I haven't commented on 30 Super Carry itself, whether it's revolutionary, or if it's a solution in search of a problem. The latter may well be how it's trending. Less and less new pistols are chambering it, and if it continues in the same trajectory, the cartridge could go extinct, much in the same way that 7.63 Mannlicher did. Stock up while you still can. Thanks for watching.